So here's a little bit online about the witch's grave, and you can pause it if you want to, but essentially it talks about a lot of urban legends surrounding it that I think for the most part, or possibly entirely, is just not true, but we'll have to see. Also, this is me looking this up after I did the investigation. You'll hear in a later clip me saying that I'll look it up later. This was me looking it up later, so when I said we'll have to see, I meant you'll have to find out by watching the rest of the video, so yeah. Okay, it's maybe not totally safe to do this. There's a random ladder here. From what I read online, it seems like it was available to the public, but the chapel that is connected to the cemetery of the supposed witch's grave is locked. So I guess it's just the cemetery that's open, not the chapel. But I want to get a good look here at the stained glass window if I can. So we're gonna try, but there is a slope here, which makes me a little nervous. So I'm being as careful as I possibly can. Yeah, the light's not shining. So it's kind of hard to see. There's a very old looking vent. There's some nature for you. Okay, so I was hoping to get a look at the inside. It looks like that is not a possibility. So we're gonna get straight to the investigation, except farther back there is not a grave, it's sort of like a monument. I don't know the right word that I want to take a look at, so let's quickly do that first. Okay, I lied. We're gonna stare at this little guy for a few seconds first, because look at how cute it is. I'm glad I looked down when I was walking, otherwise I would have stepped on the poor thing. Very cute, very fuzzy, 10 out of 10. Probably looking for food. Yeah, alright. I wanted to show this. This is gorgeous. This monument here. It's closer to the back. The name is Chisholm, so this is 6 different people with the surname Chisholm. And what looks like an urn on that side, which is interesting, because look at the other side, there isn't one there. I don't know who the statue is of. This is a Christian cemetery, so must be some sort of saint and or Mother Mary, perhaps. Yeah, but I wanted to show that, so now that I have, let's get to the witch's grave, because that's what you are here for. So here it is. Now, looking at it, I can kind of see why people were saying that it was a witch's grave and that it was cursed and everything. And to be honest, I don't feel anything bad in this cemetery at all. But I'm still gonna go through the motion of seeing if I pick up on any energy. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, the EMF is not on. I don't think I'm gonna get anything with the EMF, to be honest. I'll try it later, but for now, I'm going to get a read on what I think the status is on whether this place is haunted or not using Halloween Tarot. And then this is the Oracle deck I'm going to be using. So let's get into the tarot first, and I'm going to have the camera pointed to where the cards are going to fall so that you know I'm not cheating you or anything. That was a bad shuffle. Hold on. Let me try that again. There is also construction, which is frustrating because this is the second time that I've tried to do a paranormal video where there is construction going on nearby. So, that's not the most fun, but alright. Let's see what we got here. One already jumped out, but I would like more than just one. Oh, that one turned over right side up. I did look up whose grave this was and read a little bit about her, but I honestly don't remember what I even read. I'm gonna try to get one more card. Oh, okay. This is what I got. Page of Ghosts in the Halloween Tarot, which is typically the Page of Cups. Queen of Pumpkins, which is Queen of Pentacles. Four of Bats, which is the Four of Swords. Interesting. Okay. I think this is a read on her life, possibly. Because you've got a kid who is holding a cup with a dead fish in it and kind of amused by the dead fish, but then you've got a fancy looking envelope there. Page of Ghosts can sometimes mean a message is being brought to you, or news is being brought to you, and that news, whatever that was, seemed to be good because Queen of Pentacles is like the feminine leadership of the Pentacles, which is like the financial suit in the minor arcana. So I'm thinking she or her spouse were well off. I mean, if she can have this type of grave with all of these spokes around it, which did at one point have a chain around it that rusted away from what I read. And then the Four of Swords, or Four of Bats here, is a time for rest. Considering we're talking about someone who's deceased, the rest is eternal rest. So that's the read that I get on here. It makes me think that she was maybe not born into wealth but married into wealth or something like that. I will look her up again when I get back to the house to see if I'm right about that, but I am going to pull some oracle cards now. So the bottom of the deck, of the tarot deck, also is the Sun card, which can be tranquility. And this version of it in that Halloween tarot deck has all of the skulls on it, and this is a cemetery, so it seems like the eternal rest that the Four of Swords / Four of Bats represented is a very tranquil rest, a good rest, which for me kind of confirms what I'm thinking, which is that I don't think this was a witch's grave or a cursed grave. I'm going to explain a little bit why later, but let's get into the oracle cards now. This is what the back of the cards look like. They're really pretty. So I'm going to shuffle these. I pulled 3 of the tarot. We'll probably pull 3 of the oracle And we'll just get a read here and see what we get. That's interesting. Okay, so I pulled the first one. I'm gonna try to pull 2 more. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so the bottom of the first one says goddess. The middle one says nurture. And this one with the mermaid says serenity. So the goddess card here is interesting because this is a Christian cemetery, so there wouldn't be any goddesses worshipped by any of these people, unless, you know, maybe some of these people or couples were interfaith. I don't know that, but that's very interesting. And I did mention that maybe she had like married into wealth or married into a better situation or something like that. Like maybe her partner treated her like a goddess. Maybe that's what this means. And nurture is interesting because this is a white Victorian style building, which is eerily similar to the chapel. And then serenity. I already talked about tranquility with the Four of Swords and the Sun card. And it's interesting that it's a mermaid because there does seem to be a ravine close by. So maybe the sounds of running water are, you know, very serenity bringing to the cemetery. I'm not totally sure, but since I looked at the bottom of the deck for the tarot, I looked at the bottom of the deck here and it says light. It is very sunny right now. And this grave is not under the shade of any of the trees, so it's in constant light except for at night. And then you have the whole classic, you know, when you die stereotype of go towards the light. I don't know if this is supposed to be related to that at all. The grave is really interesting. I just don't really believe that it is a witch's grave. And I would like to talk about why while I'm at the cemetery, so I think I might try to set up my camera to face me to kind of talk about this under one of the shady trees. So just wait a second. For you, it literally will be a second. For me, it'll be a few minutes. So the footage that you are about to see is me talking, like I said I was going to, with the camera facing me, but I decided to make most of it a voiceover and included some footage in that voiceover of the cemetery as I was walking through it, and also some footage of an attempted EMF session that ended up yielding no results, but I wanted to show the footage that I did in fact try and didn't get anything, because the fact that I got barely nothing with the EMF in my lake investigation and with this one lends more credence to the fact that I did get a lot with the EMF in the haunted, burnt down school video that I did, and it also lends more credence to it because there was construction nearby on this site as well, but that did not have any effect on the EMF going off or not. So I wanted to include the footage of that. Hi. I have my glasses on because my eyes don't like the wind. My eyes don't like to be dry. So with regards to what I think might be going on with the curse, I think sort of like how manifestation is said to work. If you put enough intention into something, you can make it a reality. And I think if there is something going on with the boundary posts around her grave, I keep forgetting her name, I'm so sorry. I don't think it's a curse. I think it's more like she had the very, very strong intention that she wanted her remains to be left alone. She wanted her boundaries of where she was buried to be respected, and the people that didn't respect that, the people that went past those posts, they were spiritually trespassing and they got their karma for it. I don't think that it is a like specifically a curse, because a curse, to my knowledge, to my understanding, is something that you have to cast. And again, I don't think she was a witch, because this is a Christian cemetery, and although there are people that are Christian that do things that are typically associated with witchcraft, like reading tarot and stuff, those people are few and far between, and in a historical context, I'm not even going to entertain it because it's such a minuscule, slim possibility. So I'm going to say that that is not a witch's grave, and there is no curse, and I don't think her spirit is here. I think there are barely any active spirits, if any, if I'm being honest here, because it is such an old cemetery. Like, there are flowers and stuff here that people leave for some of the people buried here, but a lot of the newly erected stuff has the little writing that it was the Historical Society that put it up. So for most of the people that are buried here or had their ashes scattered here, the friends and family that they knew when they were alive are long gone as well now. And like, could they have descendants that still live in this town? Yes, they could. But I would imagine that's probably very few of them. And I think a lot of people who visit here are visiting because it's a historical site primarily. So I would say there's probably not a lot of activity here, and I'm not feeling anything. I'm not, no flags are going off for me. Because also you have to consider that cemeteries do not hold memories the way that your childhood home or the home that you spent your retirement in, or a place that you frequented, or maybe if you really loved your workplace, your workplace could be where your spirit ends up if your spirit stays earthbound instead of, you know, moving on to whatever's next, depending on what your belief system is. But I think most of the people here, their spirits are not tied to the grounds whatsoever, because this is just where their remains are. They do not have significant memories of their lives here. They didn't live their best moments here. This is where they were taken after their bodies were done being used as vessels. So unless you were freshly dead and your family was coming to visit you, then your spirit might be hanging around the cemetery. But for these people who are a lot of them are buried like no later than 1950 something. Most of them no later than like 1920s, 1930s. So I think most of them have moved on. I don't really think that there's anyone here that I can talk to or make contact with. But that being said, there is one grave that I saw earlier when I was just like exploring way back in the far corner of the cemetery, and it was broken into 3 pieces, and the writing on it is almost not legible anymore. I got the name Elizabeth, but I could barely read whatever else was there, which made me sad. I actually almost started to cry because I felt really bad. Just like the grave was also turned the other side, like facing the opposite side that all of the other graves are facing here, and something about that and the fact that it's like impressed into the ground and there's like moss growing on it, and this is gonna sound silly, but I felt bad because it was almost like this person was extra forgotten. And to be fair, there are a fair amount of broken headstones in this cemetery, unfortunately. I mean, it's outdoors, right? Nature is gonna do what nature's gonna do. But I just felt really bad for this Elizabeth. There's more than one Elizabeth buried here. And I don't know if that sad feeling was just me or if I was tapping into her emotions. I don't know if any part of her is still residing here. So I think I might actually try to connect to her. I'm not going to pull any more cards. I am going to try to use the EMF. If the EMF is successful, I might even try the motion sensor cat balls, but to be honest, I don't think the cat balls are... It would take a lot of power for a spirit to move those, and I don't think there's any super powerful presence here. But I am going to try to connect to Elizabeth and see, and if not, I'm gonna call it a day. These investigations do not guarantee that there will be activity, so, you know, I will get whatever I can and put the video together and you know, if there's no activity, at least you got to see some pretty footage of a historical site. Well, guys, I tried investigating, as you saw, and I really don't think that there is any activity here. Now, there could be inside the chapel, but it was locked, So I guess I misunderstood that this being available to the public did not mean that the chapel itself was. So yeah, no. If there is any energy here, I'm not feeling it. So yeah, but it was worth a try, and I got to see a historical site that I have not visited before in this town. So that was cool. I have 2 other investigation videos out already. One involving a nearby lake and one involving a haunted school that had burnt down, and I went to the grounds to investigate and had a full-on conversation with the ghost of a teacher. So if you are interested in that, go show that video some love. Sorry for that pause that I did. Another bee buzzed near me. I don't know why the bees keep going near me. I wonder if maybe it's a sign from the cemetery being like, hey, we don't want you doing your ghost investigation stuff here, please leave. I'm going to take that as a sign to leave, which I'm doing anyway, because the exit is right there. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you watching all the way through till the end, and I will see you, or rather you will see me in the next video.